Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This case is Smith v. Manning.
Thank you, Ron. Good day, everyone. Good day. Ms. Smith, you and your daughter say 6 weeks after your son, Nafi, was killed, the defendant popped up and claimed she was pregnant with his baby. Now that child, Nala, is almost 2, and you don't believe Nafi is her father. Your daughter is concerned the defendant is using you for money and says the DNA will prove the baby is not your granddaughter. Ms. Manning, you state Nafi Smith is 100% your daughter's father and say today's results will prove your case and clear your name. So, Ms. Smith, how did you find out your son might be the father?
I found out from my daughter. We were going out and she told me that Miss Manning called her and told her that she was possibly pregnant with my son's child. And then I contacted Miss Manning to meet with her so that I can talk to her. I've seen Miss Manning in the past, with my son, but when I've, asked him about it, he said that she was just his friend. So I wanted to know, being that my son wasn't here, I felt it was my responsibility to, meet with her.
Absolutely, and I'm very sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
May I ask what happened?
On November 8th, 2013, we were watching football. It was a Thursday. I had ordered pizza, I got everything except for the soda. So he was like, Mom, I'll go to the store. I was like, it's okay, I don't really need it. And he was like, no, I'll go. And then my daughter got a call that someone said that he had been shot at the corner of where we live at.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
And then we rushed to the hospital and he died at the hospital. So, you go through so much blame on yourself. Like if I didn't send him to the store, this wouldn't have happened. So it's just really, it's really hard.
So tragic. I am so very sorry.
Yeah.
How soon after your son's passing did you receive this news?
It was early in the pregnancy because I actually went with her and her family to the first appointment.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
So you felt like this was true?
It's a possibility, and I don't live my life on regrets. I wanted to make sure that I was there because I was still grieving the death of my son.
Absolutely.
So any glimmer of hope that a child possibly, was his child, I wanted to make sure I was there for that person.
Miss Manning, I can see this hurts you very much that this is in question.
I'm hurt. I'm really hurt because this never came to my knowledge that it was any doubt that my daughter was not his child. I felt as though they should have came to me if they had any doubts. To me, my daughter looks just like her son. She even smiles like him, and it's hurting me real bad. I can't take it.
Miss Manning, how soon after this tragic event did you find out you were pregnant?
I found out I was 6 weeks pregnant when I was in Job Corps. And as soon as I found out, I called Mrs. Smith to let her know. And then I called my mother. And
once you called Miss Smith, did she receive the news well?
The response I had got was, oh, well, Mr. Caesar is pregnant as well. And my response was, oh, okay.
Mrs. Caesar was another woman he was dating?
Yes.
Okay, she is actually in court today, and we will speak to her momentarily. I would like to go to you, Ms. Smith. Nalea, do you remember your initial thoughts the day that you found out that Ms. Manning was pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor. She called me and said, well, it's a possibility that I'm pregnant by your brother. And I asked her, I said, are you sure? Because, my brother never mentioned anything about her being pregnant. He only mentioned about Miss Caesar being pregnant. And I had doubts because this is not her first time. She also lied and said she was pregnant before. It was just, I would say I'm the one that has the strong doubt that this is his child. The fact that she's a liar and the fact that she got around with not just my brother, a friend of mine, and also his friends.
Your Honor, may I speak? Please, may I speak? She doesn't know me. We never had an actual conversation. So for her to say she has doubts and I slept with this person, I slept with that person, you don't even know me. How do you know am I a liar or not?
Why do you think she has these doubts?
I have no clue. To me, honestly, I don't care about her doubts. We're just here for Mrs. Smith and myself to know that Nyla Serenity Manning Smith is her grandchild. That's the only reason why we're here. I don't care about how she feels. I just want Mrs. Smith to know that that's her grandchild. She's been to my doctor's appointments. She was the first one there to the hospital when I had my daughter. She even planned my daughter's first birthday party.
I have no issues with Miss Manning. Like Miss Manning said, I've been there from the beginning. From the moment she told me, I've been there, I've been supported. But when my daughter brought the situation to me that one of Miss Manning's friends called her and told my daughter that it's possibility that numerous of guys could be Nyla's father, it put a strong doubt. But I still pushed forward because the possibility, there still is a possibility that it could be here. And my intentions is not to hurt Miss Manning. I just need Miss Manning to know. I need to know for sure.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
Me and my brother, we had a strong bond. So he told me everything. Some things he couldn't tell my mother, but he told me. And I really feel like Miss Manning is like taking advantage of my mother just based on, I feel like my mother was vulnerable. I felt like my mother was hurt. And I felt like she had an opportunity to just enter our life. And the fact that I told my mother, I was the one that told my mother that it was a potential another child. I'm the one that told her. So if anything happens today, I'm going to feel responsible because I told my mother that this is a possibility, is her grandchild. So if it's not, I feel responsible because I know what type of person my mother is. She has a big heart, and I know even if Nyla is not my brother's baby, she's still gonna, I know my mother, she's still gonna wanna be there for her. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why I wanna know for sure because it's breaking us apart because I feel this way. And she's like, in her mind, that's her grandchild. In my mind, that's not my niece.
I understand that the stakes are very high. Another part of your doubt stems from the fact that he was dating someone else at the time.
Yes, Your Honor. He was living with someone else at the time. He wasn't staying with us. He was living with her.
And that young woman is actually here today.
Yes, and he's dating.
Ron, can you please escort Miss Caesar into the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Miss Caesar. Please have a seat. Thank you for joining us today. We understand that at the time of his untimely death, you were living with her brother, and you were in a relationship with him.
We were.
Please explain for the court.
We lived together for at least a year. When I found out about Mrs. Manning's pregnancy, I found out from another family member. First thing I called was Mrs. Smith to ask her, did she know? She wanted to meet with me face to face to discuss it. She told me she had seen the girl, but she didn't know that they had that type of a relationship.
And so now you each have a daughter. You have a baby girl too.
Yes.
And they're only 2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
You don't dispute that most people thought you were just his friend.
She texted my phone and asked me, was I dealing with Nafi or one of his friends? I asked her, well, what did he tell you? To my knowledge, I didn't know nothing about Miss Caesar.
No,
to be completely
your reply
honest,
was tell Nafi to come and get his
yeah,
things.
I told him come get his stuff, but to
When
my
he
knowledge,
told me,
I didn't know anything about her. To me, he told me that he was living with a family member that was a drug addict. That's what he told me.
and he told me, because I asked him to take some of his belongings out of my house, he says a dumb high school dropout and it's easy access because she's home all day. When she texted me back, tell him to come get his things, that for me confirmed his story.
That she
was just holding his belongings at his house.
Oh.
May I speak on that? This boy, my mother worked from 3 to 12. What do you think we was doing through all that time? Playing jacks, playing Monopoly? What was we doing?
Don't nobody know the time frames y'all was there, because I was working from 8 to 5 on a daily basis. He was at the house waiting for me to get home. He was at the house before I left.
So you were never informed that he was in a relationship?
I was not at all.
When you got the text, you didn't know who that was?
I got a text from him saying, if she called, don't answer the phone. So I was like, what? Then when she texted my phone with that, I was like, well, tell him to come get his stuff out my house. That night, he came to my house and he was brought a TV over there because he was supposed to play a games with my sister and her baby father. So therefore, for him to say that I was a jump off, why are you bringing your belongings to my house? Why are you being around my family? Not only that, why are you building a relationship with my little brother? Why? Why lie? Just tell the truth.
So obviously, both of you were not informed
Blinded
about
by
some
lies.
key issues. Let's
It all
just leave
stemmed
it at
from
that.
lies.
And since he is not here to speak or explain the situation from his point of view, we'll just take it as that. Both of you were missing some key points.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've made sure from the birth of both girls that they knew each other and that they were around, and I made sure that I facilitated them. And I appreciate both of their mothers for allowing me, because it helped in my healing process. It helped to have the girls to have, something of him, of my son,
Yes.
that still lived on. And so today, I just want the clouds, I just want the doubts, I just want certainty.
And you're taking care of these two young little girls and raising them as their grandmother.
Yes.
And raising them as sisters. For them,
Yes.
you want them to know one another.
Yes.
And know that they have one another in this world.
Yes.
Even despite those doubts that play in the back of your mind because of what your daughter believes based on what she was told.
Yes. Because
I've heard stories about her as well, so it's like she can't say that she's slandering her reputation when it's been said by more than one
Nobody
person.
tell me that I was hoeing around. I didn't. Like, come on now, this is
Honestly,
crazy.
I thought, she knew about what was said because it was multiple. It's not just me. It's just not Miss Caesar. It was multiple people. Even a close friend of hers was telling me, she got around with this person, giving me a list.
Your Honor, may I speak?
I'm confused of how she's surprised about this, and this is something that was told from different people. I don't understand.
So when you gave birth, Miss Manning, I'm curious, was he already deceased when the baby was born?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you went through this entire birthing process, who was with you?
Mrs. Smith and my mother.
And when you gave birth, who was there with you?
My sister was in the delivery room, but Mrs. Smith was out there. I gave her the father band, so whenever she wanted to, she could come see my child.
And I also stayed in a hospital that night with her.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Did you list Nafi as the father on the birth certificate?
I cannot because he wasn't there to sign the birth certificate, but to Mrs. Smith's acknowledgement, I asked her, can I give my daughter her last name? Because I didn't know how she would feel about the situation, knowing that her son just passed away. So yes, my daughter has my last name and her son's last name.
And you asked her permission?
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember that,
Yeah.
Ms. Smith? And you agreed?
And I gave her his death certificate if she needed it.
Well, I think at this point, the only way to figure out how to move forward is to get the results. And I have them. Ron,
Here you go, Your Honor.
thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. Because there was not a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Nafi Smith, we performed a DNA test with the surviving grandparent, Miss Natasha Smith. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child Nala Manning Smith and the grandmother Natasha Smith. In the case of Smith versus Manning, when it comes to 22-month-old Nala Manning Smith. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. This court has determined Ms. Smith is not related to Nala Manning Smith.
Then who could it be then? Because I was the only guy I was dealing with. Then who could it be? Can I leave?
Just take a deep breath. I know this is difficult for you.
Can y'all bring
Ms.
my
Smith.
child to me so I can leave, please?
Just.
Because there's no way, like.
Are you all right, Ms. Smith? I know. I see it all over your face. I know how desperately you were hoping this was a piece of your son. And I see that hurts you.
Is the fact that I told my mother, and it's like I'm the one that told her that.
You feel like you opened up the wound.
Yes.
Because you told her.
Yes.
But you understand you had to tell her.
Yes.
I'm just glad that I know.
Good. That's ultimately why we're here. Ms. Manning, do you have any idea? Is there any other possibility you can think of?
Nope. Because I was only dealing with him.
These are situations that are very difficult because everybody has a story, but the DNA has the truth. And, you know, Miss Manning, Nala's a beautiful little girl.
Thank you.
She's just beautiful. I hope that you're able to think about and find who her biological father is for her sake.
All she needs is me.
Well, fast forward about 40 years, and you have a little girl named Nala standing on the other side of this podium going, Mom, why didn't you look for my father? I know you're going through a lot, but in a moment of pain, do not make a decision that could negatively affect your child for a lifetime. Don't close the door. I want you to take advantage of the counseling. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.